Welcome back, everybody. For the do now, I wanted you to explain or teach me how checks and balances work. So, checks and balances are a system in our Constitution that requires um, the branches to work with each other, because each branch has power over the other two. So, if one branch starts to get too powerful, the other two can kind of put it back in check and balance it out, balance out the power. An example of this might be Congress writes a law and the president vetoes it. The president can stop a law from going into effect, and Congress can override it, and then the judicial branch can rule it unconstitutional. All right, so all these different branches can influence the other one and kind of stop the other from doing something, hopefully stopping them from abusing their power. Over here, we got a political cartoon. Um, we've got a character on top of this. It looks like one of those carnival games. You hit something with a hammer and you see how high your score goes. But on this thing, we've got a person. This is former President Trump, and the game is called Test Your Democracy. And the tool you're going to be using to test your democracy is checks and balances. So, using checks and balances will give you a high score, and the higher you go, the more angry you make the former president. So, this author is saying any use of checks and balances makes Trump unhappy. This is a reference to during his presidency, when Congress didn't do what he wanted, when the courts didn't do what he wanted, when checks and balances were used against him, he would get very upset and angry. So this is a criticism of Trump. Here's a quick reminder of our checks and balance system, the different powers each branch has over the other. Today the first half was we're going to be looking at how we make laws, how a bill becomes a law. When it's an idea for a law, we call it a bill. When it actually becomes official, it's called a law. So first, we need some sort of proposal. We need some sort of ideas around the law. So Congress can present this, president can, the people can present stuff. They can come up with suggestions. Usually, a congressperson will take it over and actually formally propose it in Congress. They don't just immediately vote on this. They send it to what we call committees. So inside Congress, the Congress people break off into small groups and they're called committees and they focus on specific things. So it'll be like a committee on education, a committee on the environment, a committee on budget issues. And those specific representatives or senators get together to talk and look at different things. So in this committee work, they'll be in a small team, they'll be researching, looking up information, interviewing people, coming up with ideas to try and create the actual law. Once they've made the law, the House of Representatives vote on it, and so does the Senate. Both houses, both parts of Congress have to agree to this law. And it's really weird because both houses are making their own law at the same time. Then they have to do what they call a conference. So both houses have to get together and figure out, one single law, even though they both made one. Then Congress votes on the final version of the law, and then it goes to the president. If the president approves it, it becomes a law. If the president vetoes it, it goes back to Congress, and they have two choices. They can try to override the president, but that takes 2/3 vote. That's really hard to do. Or they can try and change the law, right? Because a lot of times the presidents will veto something and say, I like it except this part. And if Congress chooses to change that one part, they can send it back to the president and try and pass it again. If they don't, then the law's dead. If it does get passed, then the people or the states have the opportunity to sue the government over that law. They say that law is wrong and unconstitutional. Well, then it would go to the courts, and they will decide if it's constitutional or not. So this is a very long, complicated process. This makes it really hard for laws to get passed, which means any abusive, tyrannical laws are really hard to pass. Right? This is done on purpose to be very difficult because it slows the government down. It makes it hard to abuse the people. We're going to watch a video, another Schoolhouse Rock video. We come back, we're going to get on to Pear Deck and explain how does this process of making a law prevent tyranny. When you're done with that, we've got a game we're going to play. It's called Branches of Power. You open that up, click the arrow. Once it gets going, we'll click New Game and follow directions to play the game. When you're done, I have an exit slip, but also you have opportunity to do some makeup work.